And we're live. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Whiskey Charlie, the Wargame Chat live show every month on YouTube. I'm Mo from Mo's Game Table. And joining me tonight are my co-hosts, everyone's favorite Gimp with the Limp, the Gimpy Gamer, Nate Rogers, and Dan the Man Pancaldi from No Enemies Here, Wargaming News. What's going on, Dan? What's going on, Nate?
Nate, go ahead.
Just another glorious day, man. Kids are in the bath.
Nice.
Finished that up right at the last second and jumped on with you guys.
Outstanding. Well, tonight we have a very special guest, Jose Ruiz, better known as Stuka Joe. Welcome to the show, Joe.
Thanks, Mo. Nice to see you, Dan. Nice to see you, Nate.
Good to see you guys. And so what's everybody been up to lately as far as anybody playing any games? Anybody get any new games in?
Well, I just got America Bomber and I got Ostkrieg.
Nice.
Yeah, Ostkrieg was actually sent to me by I was Gregory Smith.
Gregory Charles Smith.
Yeah, no, super nice guy. When I met him at WBC, we really hit it off. And I mean, what we were talking about before, he had the same issue, you know. Yeah. And he sent it to me out of his, like that.
Yeah, designers get, a set amount that they can use and send out to content creators. And what are you going to do with that? Are you going to do any video for it, or?
Yeah. I mean, if he sent it to me, I'm gonna return the favor by doing a video. I'm probably gonna do like a serious war game segment on the Dice Tower and show like Hex Encounter, this and this and that. Go a little bit deeper.
Okay,
that's cool. What I'm gonna do with that. And I got a few GMT games I got to do the same thing with.
What about you, Gimp?
Usual stuff. What I had mentioned previously, I just got up my first By Stealth and See video the other day. Tried something new with that. Short little Kickstarter video by about 5 minutes long. You know how they kind of got those like preview videos?
Yeah.
When you go to Kickstarter. So I tried to make something in the vein of those that DVG could use on the campaign itself, and I think it came out okay. The sound quality wasn't great because I had a bad mic that I was using for it, but I fixed that situation, so I'm good there. I do have, where is it?
What kind of mic did you get?
Oh, it's a mic I already had. I just found out that I could use it with the computer, and I got a new baby here recently. See if I can get the glare out of it, because y'all know my other passion is X-Wing. So
nice.
Got my new Houndstooth in and some hot shots for an upcoming tournament. I actually have my own team for X-Wing. We compete in a tournament called the Crate Cup, and there's a team. You have to name your teams, and my team is called the TheGimpyGamer Squadron.
Nice.
They picked it too. Like they picked it in honor of my channel. Like I didn't pick it. They're like, no, you're the captain, and we're gonna call it your channel. I'm like, okay, guys, that's good.
Did you say the Crate Cup, like the Crate Dragon?
It's spelled Krayt.
Crate, like a Crate Dragon. Outstanding.
Yeah,
Star Wars nerd stuff.
Yeah, this is gonna be the 5th or 6th tournament I think we competed in. We did real well last year. We actually made the top 4 of the cut, and there was a bunch of teams there, and we didn't expect it. So I'd already packed up. I'm getting ready to get in the car because that was, the finals at that point. And I'm jumping in the car, and they come running out, and they're like, Gimpy, like, we made the top 4. Like, we're in the tournament. We're in the finals. I'm like, no shit, really?
I guess I got to go back inside now.
We weren't expecting it, but we actually did pretty well. Like most of our guys went like 3-1 or 3-2. I forget exactly how many games we played. And since the tournament was an hour away and my ride was already there, since I can't drive, I was like, all right, what am I supposed to do? And another buddy of mine offered to take my place. He's like, look, I'll fly your list for you, and we'll just see where it pans out. And they were nice enough to let him jump on. So he went ahead and took my stuff, flew for me. And for the finals prizes, they actually went and gave me and him finals prizes since he stepped in for me. Nice. So it actually worked out for both of us. I was real happy about that. X-Wing crew is like the nicest group of people you will ever meet. Yeah, that community I mean, every community has a few toxic elements,
Sure.
but some are more so than others. Like you hear 40K has a lot of toxic players. You hear Magic has a lot of cheaters and toxic players. X-Wing, for the most part, everybody's real chill. They're relaxed. If they get extra stuff, they give it to you. Like, hey, I got extra altar cards or tokens.
Nice.
Here you go, man. Welcome to the community. Everybody's just always looking out for each other. It's the most chill, relaxed gaming community I've ever been a part of.
That's
Seriously,
how you build a
got
community.
everything.
That's how you build a community. You make it welcoming, and you help out newcomers and anybody who's, hey, got some extra tokens. I'm not going to use them. Take them, use them. But what about you, Joe? What have you got on the table now?
I have Richard III. That's a block game from Columbia Games. They sent it to me with the big what do you call it? Neoprene mat.
Neoprene mat. Yeah, nice.
I took that to Spain to the BellotaCon, and I played the game over there. Got my ass kicked, and the thing is,
you're like me, always lose.
It had been really a while since I had played block games, and block games, they're not very fun solitaire because half the fun is not knowing the identity and strength of the other guy's units, right? So,
sure.
So I played it and really found it really interesting. There's a lot of chrome. There's a lot of units that have special abilities. Interesting decisions. It was very fun. I really enjoyed it. So I'm just adding some video to the footage from the BellotaCon, and I hope to get that one off soon.
Well, that's good. Now, what else you got planned? Anything else?
I got, let me see, on the queue, I got, not in that order, there's Napoleon's Last Battles from, this is from Mike Scarborough. He's got a new company called, let's see what's the name. Got it here. What's this game? His company is Companion War Games. This is a area impulse game on Waterloo. I got extended example of play of Interceptor Ace. I got Crowbar extended example of play coming up too. I got from Tom Russell, I got Westphalia, which is a 6-player game that you can't play with less than 6 players.
Oh my God.
Oh, no kidding.
It's like diplomacy, but it has interesting mechanics. I also have pending, what else? Looking at it, everything that I have. Let me see. Oh, it's a game, some games from Spain that they sent me the PDFs. And it's a game called, in Spanish, Deslealtad Inadmissible Disloyalty. And it's a game that uses the mechanics of this game from Compass Games, that Rebellion, what's the name, Dan, remember?
You mean the Upper Canada Rebellion?
Yeah, it uses those same mechanics, but to reflect the situation that's happening now in Spain. The game goes up to 2017 when the Spanish courts ordered the arrest of the Catalans who had called for a referendum. So it's really interesting because it has all these mechanics. I'm going to play that game with a friend of mine who's actually a Catalan, but he's been living in Puerto Rico for 25 years. I was born in Barcelona, but I was there for a year. So I'm going to play the loyal Madrid gang. So he's going to play the Catalans, and then I'll comment on how it was and show a little video on the game. But it's really interesting because it's a Spanish design using the mechanics of that game. And I saw it at the BellotaCon. I don't think anybody's seen it over here, so it's going to be interesting.
No, but you showed us the map for it.
Oh, the other, yeah, I have it around here somewhere. Yeah, I have it back there. Yeah, it's basically has a lot of tracks like that game. Yeah, but it's all Catalonia divided into municipalities with the tracks, and you have Barcelona and Girona, which are the large cities. So it's going to be pretty cool.
So Dan is having a narcolepsy attack.
Who's that? It's Steve Bolin. Hey, what do you want me to do, Steve? You want me to get up and dance?
Hey, Steve, to answer your question, you're welcome. For the Conflict of Heroes videos, and yes, the dice gods are still crushing me. I have the last round that I put up, it was not going very well. I lost another squad, and all my guys were spent, and they still had a machine gun that was chewing into me. I'm not really anticipating doing well on that, but stay tuned because I'm actually going to do another video series with Storms of Steel and have some combined arms, some tanks and AT guns and all the other good stuff added in, and might be doing another giveaway from Academy Games as well.
Nice.
For that one.
Outstanding.
Hey, Nate, I've been wanting to ask you, what's with the Old Testament look?
What do you mean?
You got that Old Testament thing happening, man.
Let's just say it tickles all the right places.
Okay, thank you.
He likes having a soup catcher. That's what it is.
Hey, she likes the beard, so the beard stays, man.
It stays,
it's gotta
man.
work for me.
You know what? I mean, look at my hair now. My girlfriend doesn't want to cut my hair anymore, so I'm gonna grow it out like just insane. I'm gonna look like who's that guy? The boxing promoter, Don King.
Don King.
He's gonna have nothing on me, man.
You need to grow it out like a racer head.
I swear, if I do this there, something like this, I look like Grandpa from the Addams Family.
It's kind of like the front lines there in Russia, man. They just slowly keep backing away. I'm sorry, Dan. I gotta pick at you a little bit, buddy.
That's okay.
We have a request from Steve for Dan to dance.
Oh, for God's sake!
You dance?
No, I'm not gonna dance.
His little dance that he does on the show.
Yeah, but that's for special occasions.
That
man.
I can't do it right now. I'll knock over everything over here.
Yeah. Got Stuka Joe with us. That's always a special occasion.
Hell yeah. Well, speaking of that, why don't you, I know you were on the Harold on Games podcast and you discussed a lot of your background and stuff, but maybe not everyone here has heard that podcast. And if you're not already listening to the Harold on Games podcast, you really should go into your iTunes library and subscribe to that. And also conflictsimulations.com is Harold's website. You can follow along with posts he puts on his blog and also keep up to date on the podcast. But for those who are maybe not already aware of it, why don't you talk about the origins of your name, Stuka Joe?
Stuka Joe. Well, when I was about, I think 9 or 10, my dad got me remember these tester Stuka planes that with little motors that you would fly with a string, and you would just orbit around and fly the planes.
Yeah.
So we went to this tar lot to fly this black Stuka, I remember. And my dad turned the engine on, and then he started, flying the Stuka around, flying it up and down, diving, coming. And I remember saying to my dad, I want to fly it. I said, let me give it a few more spins. So in one, it went up, and then it came down for a dive and never got out of that dive.
I knew you were going to say something sad.
It crashed in 1,000 pieces. I think I started crying. So my dad felt bad, and then he gave me as a present a non-flying Stuka.
Yeah.
And for some
reason,
reason,
gave himself that one.
I just fell in love with that plane. And in my office, I have a huge Stuka there. I don't have any diplomas. I just have the Stuka there. It has a specific reason, pointing at the defense attorneys who come for
intimidation is always a good thing.
A bargain.
Oh man!
So that's why the name Stuka Joe, and I think it has like a certain it has a catch to it. It's better than Mustang Joe or Spitfire Joe.
No, it definitely does. Now, if your name was Sally, Mustang would be the obvious choice.
Yeah,
but, Stuka Joe just has a great ring to it, and you become such a really huge part of the Wargame community, and everything you do is just really appreciated, and you've been doing it for years. Thanks. What got you started into shooting video?
Because I started wargaming when I was 12, 13, and started getting games. I used to play some of the games. I remember with my brothers, we used to play those Avalon, like Midway, Up Front, played some Russian campaign. But there came a time, went to college, didn't play that much, but kept on purchasing games. I started working, got married, got a family, and started looking. Man, I got like 1,000 games here. I'd never played them. I'm like, gosh, I'm a collector, I suppose. So then I started watching. There was these guys like Mark Guarnaldo, Callendale, Enrico Biglino, Callendale, Joe Stedman. They were doing videos. And one day I said, I think I can do that. I can film a video of a war game. So I took out, there's a Command Magazine game called Lion of Ethiopia, which is about the Italian invasion of Ethiopia in 1936, a magazine game, standard hex and counter game, 24 turns. I said, I'm going to film all 24 turns. And the way I did it was I used, at that time, a camcorder. I put it on a small tripod and started filming like short bits like, this is the front here where the Fifth Army is about to attack. These are the positions before the attack. And then I would pause, resolve combat. And then these are the positions after the attack. And I noticed like, if you put the camera still in the before and you leave it still and then you film the after, it looks like they moved a little bit. Afterwards, I added a dissolved transition and it actually looks like they're moving. And hey, that's kind of cool, because I saved the viewer a lot of time instead of rolling for everything, before and after. And then if you look at the video still, the whole 24 hours, it takes 2 hours and 11 minutes, which is not bad, for a game that has phases and supply and all that. And I said, I really enjoyed this. So I got a lot of positive feedback. So I started to do videos on war games. And at that time I was doing some playthroughs. I would play 1 or 2, 3 turns of some other games. And I said, hey, I like doing this. And I started in 2013 in the summer. And so far, I don't have a ton of videos. I think I have like maybe 120. I don't know. Because I like to put out something that I would like to watch if I was a viewer. So I don't put out a lot of them, but when I put them out, I like to put something that, it's worthwhile. And I like putting examples of play because people actually come back to me and say, hey, listen, I just watched your video of 5 years ago. And after watching it, the learning curve for me went down. So I took the chance on the game and I really appreciate it. And I think that's a way that the videos can be helpful, just.
Stuka, you got almost 300 videos, buddy.
300? Oh, okay. Stop counting then after 100.
Yeah, you got a bunch of it.
Okay, but it's not. Right now, I'm gonna try to catch up on the content. Like if I can put 2 every month, that will be fine. But because it takes some time, you probably know Gimpy and Dan. You must do a shitload of editing and Mo. The editing can do wonders,
Oh yeah.
And because it's easy for you to just put a camera here and roll away for 2 hours, and then hey, fellas, have a good time watching this stuff.
Yeah, no.
The editing is really. You can do a lot of nice things editing wise, interesting things. I'm trying now shooting video. If you watch my last video, you can see my hands only once or twice when I have to show them it's a chit pull game, for crying out loud. I have to show the hand.
It magically came out all by itself.
Because otherwise, gamers were going to think, that what do I do with that cup? I put some whiskey on it. So the thing is, but when I'm talking about, for example, units that can be activated, you have the leader, and then he can activate units within a 2 hex range. So he can activate the squad in G2. So you can see the camera moving to G2 and coming back. And that's just the camera. If you watch the video, you don't need hands. You don't need anybody pointing at it. But that's post-production. That's the panning and zooming feature.
Yes.
And that takes a little while, but after a while, it goes. I can put it together pretty fast, but it's editing. It takes a little time, but I think it's worth doing it because people appreciate it. And if you see that video, the comments, people, I just bought the game because of you. I'm not buying the game. I didn't get paid for it. I just got a copy from the designer, Joe Chacon, who I met at Consum World, and I said, sure, I'll do a video on the game. And I never say, yes, buy the game. Hey, this is a great game. No, I never say that because my tastes is not the same as everybody else.
That's right.
And I don't want anybody to say, oh, Stuka Joe said it was a good game. That's why I bought it. No, you never,
It's a good game for Stuka Joe.
Well, normally I do a video. If I do a video on it, it's because or I enjoy the game, but not. I've done videos of games that I don't like too, but I'm not going to say which ones. But the thing is, I only show how the game plays, so the game sells itself. If you watch the video and you say I don't like those mechanics, then that's the whole purpose of the video.
Yeah.
I got to ask Stuka, have you ever gone back and looked at some of your original work, like back when you first started putting up videos, and then think to yourself, man, I was garbage. What the hell was I thinking? Like, it's so bad. Like, I'll watch some of my original stuff, and I'm like, oh, my God, it's horrible. What the hell was it? It's atrocious.
No, you learn a lot of stuff as you go along. That first video I made didn't have any transitions.
Someone's at the door.
Yeah, that's here. My brother arrived.
I was going to say, whose ring's going off?
So that first video didn't have any smooth transitions, no text. The microphone was the microphone of the camcorder, which picks everything else in the room. Now we have all these little nice things and stuff. So you learn every time, and
sure.
And of course, that's the whole point. The idea is to get better, not worse over time. If they get worse, we got a problem, Houston.
So Dan, Trevor wants to know, Dan, what's going on with the hair?
Well, I'm on strike, and it's to make my girlfriend look bad.
Wow, that's not.
So I'm just gonna grow it out, and I'm gonna because right now I've got this Italian look happening because I just took a shower for the show, obviously, and I look very Martin Scorsese like. You know what I'm saying?
But I was thinking more like Danny DeVito.
Well, sure, and you'll see like. Tomorrow it's gonna be like this, and I'm growing it out, man, till my girlfriend wants to cut my hair. If not, I'm gonna
bring her in the room right now and say, you know what? Look at the guy next to me. That's what's gonna be on my head because you're not cutting it. I'm gonna have his beard on my head. That's how my hair's gonna look.
Well, I would grow it out. I would pull a gimpy like that, but it starts getting itchy, man.
No, I'm talking about on your head. That's how.
I know.
There's a question by someone on the Atlantic Wolves game.
Yeah, it's a Kickstarter.
Yeah, I have the
original.
The original. I haven't played it. I read the rules. I like what I've read so far. The thing I like is you can play the whole. Well, it's not the whole campaign. I think it's 1942 to 1943, the critical part in a sitting, and it pits you as the Germans against. It's a solitaire system, right? So I pulled the trigger on the Canvas Temple remake. So I hope it's good too. So
you backed the Kickstarter?
Yeah, I backed some Kickstarters. Yeah.
How much is it?
I don't remember. Maybe I don't know, $60. I don't remember. It's
46.
200 Canadian or something.
46, which is about 200 Canadian.
Oh yeah, after Canada Post, it's $400. Yeah.
Oh no, that's without shipping. With shipping, it's probably about 300.
And a physical examination.
Yeah. Hey Joe, you were talking about Columbia Games. Now, is it my impression? But it seems Columbia Games is their own master. They do things differently than other people, and they seem to be doing well.
Well, I was impressed by the rules. The rules didn't have any holes in it, and I played with a Spaniard. I think we had to look at the rules only once. It was very clear and very concise. It's like 8 pages. I mean, it's a block game. It's not very complicated, and I think all their block games have it's the A units fire first in defense, then the A units attacking fire first. So that's similar, but it has some intricate rules, like on specific units have specific powers. In that game, there's some units that can cause units on the other side to commit treachery and come to your side, which actually in our game happened twice, which was kind of cool. And I enjoyed it very much. I had not played a block game in years. I had dismissed them because, hey, you can't play them solitaire unless you're a masochist or something.
Well, isn't Vento Nuovo, Kiev and Stalingrad Inferno like solitaire? You can play it solitaire and it's a block game.
Yeah, but they have solitaire provisions. But those that are just like the regular 2-player games. I mean, the fog of war in these games is the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
So because they're not very complex, they're area movement. So I liked it very much, and I'm looking forward to other games. What do you have there?
Oh, nice.
Combat infantry. That's
and it looks very interesting. I haven't played it yet, but I just it's funny. It makes me think of Victory Point games, the way the sleeve and everything like that, And I don't know. I just like the style of Columbia Games, man.
Because it reminds you of pizza, right? When you open the box. Yeah, it's like the pizza box and Victory Point games. But there's
makes the Italian in them happy.
I don't know. I just like it. There's something very very homey about it. I don't know.
No, but listen, if this may be worth something. At the BellotaCon, Volko Runke watched us play the game. He came by, and Volko said that he liked that game, Richard III, but his favorite was Crusader Rex, which is it's on the Crusades, a block game from Colombia. So if Volko's played Richard III and he liked it, and actually I played it and I liked it a lot, the Richard III, and so I'm pulling the trigger on Crusader Rex too. So,
I mean, look. Volko playing Crusader Rex.
He must know something.
Mark Herman playing Quartermaster General. You know what I'm saying? What's going on?
Yeah, those guys, I think they have an idea on
yeah, I think so.
They have a slight idea on what they're doing.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of. They're kind of like okay designers.
Yeah.
And we've got a couple of questions here. Number one from David Martin asking me if I'm going to be doing any more videos on Stalingrad 42. That he enjoyed the one that I did from the San Diego Historical Games Convention, and I will be playing that again next month in CSW at CSW Dallas, and we may be shooting another video for that. So
nice.
We'll stand by for that one, hopefully. And Steve was asking if anybody here is going to ConSim Dallas in March. I'll be there. I have to be. It's like right down the road.
Joe, you're not going?
No, I got to save my money for Phoenix.
So you're going to be going to ConSim, right?
Yeah.
The big one.
What about WBC? What's going on with WBC?
That one I don't know yet.
Maron.
Listen, I always say the same thing.
What, castagnets? Click, 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 click.
Well, I know that Dan has, kind of put up the brick wall to hide the truth, but Dan should be able to help you out because we saw that he's been doing really good with the Patreon and YouTube. It's been very good to him. And maybe you should move that wall aside and show everybody here the interior of your home. And there it is. Look at that beautiful new home, piano and everything that Dan has gotten from his YouTube gig here with No Enemies Here.
Yeah, yeah. You guys should be honored that I'm here.
Yeah, because YouTube pays real big money nowadays.
Big bucks. Hey, you got to be doing something wrong because I'm doing something right.
I'm just waiting for you to start charging me because I don't do ads or anything like that. So
it's on its way, Mo.
I'm expecting it.
Yeah,
I'm expecting it. Yeah, you're not running ads, so you're not generating revenue for us. So you need to pay. It's like,
I wouldn't be surprised if they did that crap.
I wouldn't be. Then I would be forced. Then I'd be forced to go with ads, but no.
Yeah, I don't do ads for some reason. It doesn't matter if people do ads, but I don't know. I don't know, man. First of all, I don't have enough people to. What am I going to generate? $2 a month?
Wow, you're on it. That's
the whole point is if you're going to generate $2, $3, $4 a month, and the other side is your viewers are going to be interrupted by these ads like hemorrhoid medicine and toilet paper. That's why I don't have that thing on because I put myself in the position of the viewer. Suddenly you're watching and suddenly they put this guy selling you how to pick up women and stuff. What the hell, man?
You do have the option though. Like you can go into the options and you can decide whether it's going to be just at the beginning or if they'll be spread throughout. Yeah, I don't know if that affects it later on or however high you get. But I always put mine to be just at the beginning so they can skip it, move on. Because I do hate the ones that are there in the middle because it takes you out of whatever the hell you're watching. Although, like I said, it's not like they're giving me anything. I think I get maybe like $50 a month at most.
Wow, but still, that's 50 American. That's like 200 Canadian.
That's like a month's rent up there.
Everything's better in America.
Well, I'm not going to say anything.
So, Dan, did you answer the question? Which one is it?
It's a Bosendorfer.
Oh,
I
there you
don't
go.
I don't go for that Steinway tinky there. I mean, give me that extra octave in the bass there. That's what I want, man.
Now that we're talking about YouTube and we're talking about all this content creation that is making Dan rich over here and the rest of us poor. Now, Joe, talk about you've talked a little bit about your content creation. Now, how do you see content creators making wargaming better, and how can content creators enhance the wargame experience for viewers?
Oh, that's a good question. After 6 years of doing this, I've done unboxings. I haven't done the standard review though of playing a game 1, 2, 3 times and then saying if I like it or not, because frankly I don't have time to play the games. Really, not much time. I have done many videos of just examples of plays in the book, like D-Day at Tarawa, and I found people respond to that in a positive way. I was intimidated by the game. I saw your video, and I understood the mechanics, and I pulled the trigger on the game. And I think that's a way that content creators can help. These war games have depth because you have the history behind the games, and the mechanics in many games. They have some depth. They're very procedural. Like all these games have a sequence of play. Some have a lot of phases, but after you play one turn, the same turn comes at the next turn comes, and it's the same procedure. And I think showing the procedure in an entertaining way, and I put myself in the seat of the viewer. If I'm going to show, for example, let's take Nevsky, right? It's a new system by Volko, right? It has a lot of different things. If you look at the playbook, it has examples of play, for example, of the muster phase, of the levy phase, of the combat phase, in campaigning and all that. If I would do a video, I would do one on the muster phase, showing the extended example of play step by step, as if the viewer had the game in front of him, like. And I can make the pieces like move by themselves, kind of, because with the before and after and the transitioning and the narration, and you have to have good audio because otherwise you lose the attention of the viewer and all that, good lighting. And I think that would be interesting. I think people, the good thing about that is it's not my opinion. Yeah, buy this game, trust me. No, it's, you look at it, this is the way it plays. And if you want to play Nevsky 10 years from now, the video is still relevant.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because the game's not going to change unless they do a second edition and Volko then changes everything, but that's not going to happen. So that's one way I think content creators can help, is showing the game how it plays. Play a full turn, but show the detail. But you have to do it in an entertaining way. That means you can't have the 30,000 foot camera and let it roll there for 2 hours, because that becomes unwatchable. So you have to do a lot of short clips, good editing, use text and stuff to enhance the video. And that's what I like to do. I actually enjoy it because apart from playthroughs, that's my way of playing the game, is just setting up the extended example of play. Because let's face it, the first time you play a game by yourself, one of these games, you're going to screw up the rules a lot.
Badly.
So
Yeah.
what's the use of a video screwing up the rules? It's not very helpful, is it? But if you take the extended example of play, I mean, the one that I did for Churchill was done by Mark Herman. And so he didn't screw up the rules. So it's all there clearly. And it's somebody playing the game, but on video, that unless you have the game with you, see, these extended example of plays in the rule books, they're nice, and they're okay, but not everybody they're not helpful for everybody, because not everybody that doesn't have the game can download it and imagine what's happening. There's still a lot of stuff that you have to fill in the gaps with your imagination. Now, that's where the video is superior to the written word, because they can't put an extended example of play that it's all photographs changing from because it would take 100 pages.
Sure.
So that's where the video format beats the written word in wargaming. And notice that I'm not saying that it's superior all the time. This is one area in which it's superior. In for example, in explaining rules, if you want to take ASL you got these binders, right? Rules.
Mm-hmm.
Try doing a video series on ASL. It's going to take
I'm
forever.
going to start it tomorrow, and it'll be at least a 350-part series, an hour each, and it'll probably be done in about 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, and as a reference, it's really tough because as a reference, you would have to go to a specific video and then watch the whole thing. That's what I think the written word is better for rules making. Mm-hmm. But there are some games that are simple that you can do rules videos for, but the average war game, it's tough. So that's why I think just show the extended example play. One turn, well played, and sometimes these extended example plays have even comments on strategy. So you're showing some depth there. And then the players catching the game as it is played and the nuances behind the game. That's the key. Is in most of the videos that you see, unboxings and the standard review, you don't catch the nuances of the game. The only way you catch them is if you play them, or if you show the game as it's being played and you discuss them. And that's why I think I would like to see more of that. For example, you know a guy named Bruce Garrick. He has. He doesn't do a lot of videos, but the ones he puts together are just fantastic because he goes really deep into the nuances of, I think, the DMBM Food Game by Legion Wargame. That's fantastic. Of course, if you ask him, it took him forever to produce because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Well, Nate does a great job with that, the review through where he plays through a game and reviews it.
Yeah, I watch your videos, Nate.
Yeah.
See, I try to kind of hit the middle ground of what Stuka's talking about in it, because he's right. The more in depth and the higher quality you go, the longer it takes to actually produce the video, right?
Yes.
Because of all the editing that you have to do with it. So I try to take it. You guys don't hear that, do you?
Oh yeah.
My kid was yelling. I'm sorry.
Demonically possessed children.
She's
over
going
there.
to bed and she's upset. I apologize. So actually, I use this in a lot of my videos, which is one of those gyroscopic camera holders.
A gimbal.
Little gimbal. And it'll hold my camera for me. I don't get quite as good of audio with this because I can't plug in my good mic, but it allows me to cut out the editing step like Stuka was talking about of changing the positioning of the camera. With this, I can do it all by hand wherever I want to be. So I can transfer straight to the dice roll, transfer straight to whatever unit's moving. That way it saves me time on the back end when it comes to editing, but I do have to lose a little bit of quality as far as like audio is concerned when I go in this route. But you're right. I think a lot of people are looking for it because that's the big reason that I started in the industry in the first place, was because I couldn't find videos. Stuka's was some of the first videos that I watched where I actually could see an example of the game, and I didn't know jack shit about war games. I was trying to learn, and when you're coming with no knowledge and then you're looking at stuff like A World at War or Absolute Victory, because I wanted to get like a huge game. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I was thinking,
that's right.
7-foot map. That sounds awesome. This will be great. No. Open up the rule book and I'm like, this is not great. This is, what the hell was I thinking?
That's right.
And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll have to watch
go big or go home.
It was the Marine mentality. I ended up backing off of that and went into a few DVG titles to kind of get my feet wet. And in the process of it, I was like, I can't find that many videos of people actually playing. And this was not long after I had been, disabled from the landmine and everything. And I had a lot of spare time. And I was like, you know what? I bet you I could do this. So I started looking into getting some equipment and, going from there. I'm like, what better way to spend my day besides playing games? Although I didn't have kids at the time, now I have 3, so time is a lot more limited. Again, sorry about the demon spawn. They're going to bed now.
I think it's fun.
What do you have? Is a gyroscope? What is that you have in your hands?
It's a gimbal.
Right. Oh, it's a gimbal. You put the camera in here.
And you hold it with your hand.
Yeah, I'll hold it with my hand, and it'll steady the camera so you don't see the shaking of my hands, when I'm trying to film it.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Otherwise, I have to do a lot of editing on the back end where I zoom down to whatever portion of the map that I'm actually working with. This saves me all that time because I get to just do it by hand right there on the map, and I can point at whatever position of the map I'm working on.
How well does that work, the one you got?
This one actually works really well. It's 120, I want to say.
All right.
So about 1,000 Canadian. Something. But
And
yeah,
Joe
they're
just got
actually
up and walked
really.
away.
These are really good. It begins with a Z. Can't remember the name. Here it is. Zion or Zihun, something like that. Zhiyun is the name of the company. I actually learned about these from David because he had one at WBC.
Okay.
I should have just made him buy it for me.
I've been meaning to get one of those, but we got a question from Jeff for Joe. Will you do a follow-up video series for America Bomber as you did for your awesome and legendary B-17 Queen of the Skies video series, replete with people from the content creator world?
Come on, stop being lazy. Get off your ass. Do something.
One of the great things about us attorneys and prosecutors is we learn to say no without saying no.
But Joe, it's so much fun, man. That watching that video, so much fun.
I know. I don't have the game. Then you said you bought it, or it was sent to you by error.
Either I bought it, or they made a mistake and sent it to me. But I'm so dafted when it comes to my finances. I don't even know what's going on.
No, I could see that could be a nice, at least. I mean, you could do a one series chapter, have it crash at the end of the first mission, right?
You're talking about me doing it.
Will it get off the ground?
That's no, Joe. Joe, people want to see you doing it, man.
Yeah, I know.
You got the taste. You got that look. You got that feel, man.
When I did that B-17 thing, we have a phrase in Puerto Rico. We say, "Es mejor pedir perdón que pedir permiso." It's better to ask for forgiveness than for permission. So, so the first time I put all these people without calling them, say, "Do you want to be my?" I just put their images there. So but that first bomber crashed, and then for the second bomber, I called the people saying, and everybody wanted to be in it,
Of course.
It's but it was a lot of fun because I had to do the faces for the counters and everything, and
I remember that video. Yeah, I really liked that video.
Yeah, it came out to 11 episodes. That number 11, I had to crash that last die roll. I just. What do I need to crash that?
Come on.
It was because it was a lot of work, man. It was a lot of work.
My girlfriend and I used to watch that, man.
If you watch it now, the first episode and the second one or the third, YouTube muted the audio because apparently I used some piece of music, and they said, what was it?
Copyright infringement.
Had the choice between that monetizing it or muting it, and for some reason they muted it. So if you watch it now, it's muted. So I would have to fix it and go to the piano over here and play some and put some music. But I haven't got to do that again. So.
Well, I just looked it up, and America Bomber actually isn't too bad. It's only 54.
Yeah, I know, but that's not what it cost me.
350 Canadian.
You don't count. For the rest of us normal people, it's only 54. I might actually has anyone actually played it, or someone in the comments, comment on it if it's worth it, because I'm not trying to hate on Compass Games, but sometimes you'll get some of theirs and it's only a few sheets, like one sheet of counters and a few sheets of paper that you paid like $60 for.
There's a comment by Gilbert.
Yeah, Gilbert tossed 7, man.
Yeah, on rain. Actually, I would prefer personally, I like to enjoy the videos that I do. I would enjoy more doing Raid on Saint Nazaire.
But you started it already, Joe.
Yeah, but I had to pick it up because I had to visit it at my home, and it lasted until they disembarked. But I think that they weren't going too far. I mean, there was a lot of casualties in the water, but that's one that would be really nice. And the good thing about that video is if you look at the components, those are not the original components. There was a Spanish graphic artist. I forget his name now. Santa Maria something. I think it's Santa Maria something. It's his last name. He did new artwork for the counters, for everything, and that's why it looks so nice. Because the original one is kind of crappy. But and then the map. Somebody had a PDF of the map. Those Avalon Hill games, they come in in cardboard. The mountain map comes in divisions, and you can see the dividing line there. This one doesn't. And then the map looks really nice, and I put some I laminated it so the water looks like water because it has that gloss to it. Now that one I enjoyed immensely, and that one I would probably see myself doing a video of, because
you never finished it, right?
No, I would have to start again. So, and I have some ideas to keep it moving, and to keep each episode, each turn, like the 15 minutes, which is I think I can condense the information and still keep it interesting. And of course, I would use your music as a background. Yeah, so I can see myself doing that sometime in the future. Because that's actually a very, very interesting game. And you got to be a masochist to play it, because there's so many things that can go wrong that you say, man, in history, those guys were lucky that they pulled out that crap, because when you play that game, you lose like half your guys before they hit the beat. That
was a suicide mission, man.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. But then that's what makes it so fascinating, right?
Well, there's some more crack in the future from Joe on that one, because Gilbert says that Joe is like crack on video for war gamers.
I still look forward to your videos, Joe. But when there was B-17 and on Wargame, you did Dawn of the Zeds. And I think on episode 7, you started acting with your voice. I was so into it. And this guy's crazy, man. I love it.
The most fun videos are the playthroughs. That one I did, I think, 2 turns per episode. I played a full game, and it was a nice game to look at. That 3rd edition of Dawn of the Zeds was just incredible, the graphics. So that's something that I want to do more, because those actually are easier than the preview videos, because I filmed them and it's only 1 turn, and I can load all the clips onto the timeline, put the transitions, and if you look at those, each episode would come out every 2 days, which is not bad. It's these that I'm doing now take me so long that I'm kind of yearning for those playthroughs.
Well, people don't realize, you're talking about that, it takes longer to edit and stuff. The post stuff is what's tough, because people don't realize, or maybe don't appreciate, because if they've not done it, that you load the clip. It's not as simple as just loading the clip in and, you splice there, throw it together, boom, and then you upload. It's like, no, you got to splice. You got to make sure your lighting's balanced, your white balance is good. You got to change things up in there with all that to tweak it to look a little bit more uniform, and then, or to get a look that you're looking for. Then you have to tweak the audio. Then you have to render it. Then you have to upload it. So rendering can take anywhere from, on a short one, 30, 45 minutes up to a couple of hours, and then you have to upload it.
And the thing is, I like also to do props for the videos, because sometimes if you just use the game components, people don't know what's going on. Like the RAF videos I made, I did some observer core markers, so you could see, the strength of the observer core value, the detection, the radars, the radar stations that are detecting the raid, where's the raid coming from. If you just use the game components, you're like lost in Babylon. It's so sometimes you have to. It's like a Hollywood movie, and you're doing props. You see, so you do props for the video presentation.
So Decision Games must have paid you a fortune for that RAF video, Joe.
Yeah, you know how much they paid me?
Gave you a handshake and a tall glass of milk.
Well, not even.
And I did a video for the Eagle and for the RAF, and I did sequence of play cards too. Yeah. You know how much I got for that, Dan? Guess.
Another firm handshake and a tall glass of milk.
But you know what? And that just shows that I'm gonna say almost 100% of content creators do it because they love it, man. Mm-hmm. Because, you get a review copy of the game, which is great. And but the amount of time it takes, and I keep ragging on that, the amount of time it takes. I still love it. I love it. But I'm gonna shut up now.
It's about time.
I got a comment for Thunder Alley. That actually, Thunder Alley was like my first collaboration with Dan. Dan, let me tell these guys how I got to meet you. That's kind of a story.
Go ahead.
Because this is like, how small the world is. So I was doing the B-17 series. If you look at the first 2 chapters, I use my standard at the time Stuka Joe theme, which sounds pretty crappy. And the music is the hymn for my alma mater in Mayagüez. So whatever. So Dan calls me and says, "Hey Joe, can you help me out with rules for Patton's Best?" And I'm going, "What the hell, Patton's Best?" Patton's Best is like another solitaire game. Apparently, you were playing that game. Can you explain to me? I don't understand this rule. So I took my copy of Patton's Best for I don't know where the hell I pulled it from and then I explained it to him. And then he says, I'm a wargamer and I'm a musician and I can provide music for your war games. My first gut feeling was, yeah, send me some music. It'll be crap, and I'll say no without saying no, like attorneys do.
He plays the kazoo.
So he sent me some music, and I say, this is really good. I can use it for the B-17 series. So you look at I think chapter 3 onwards, it has background music to it. That's your music, but no, I think from then on it had in the battle scenes. Remember, dun 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 dun. That's your music. Because I still use some music I pulled from other places that are not to be named for some scenes, but I started using his music, and then came an opportunity for a game video, and then I think you got that one for Thunder Alley, right? You spoke to somebody in GMT.
I don't remember.
You don't remember, but I didn't. I just got a copy. You got a copy, and then so Dan did the music, and it was a first collaboration. When I did a video for a game, I would do a musical introduction, like a minute and a half, something like that, with Dan's original music, and I would put pictures related to the game. If it's a historical game, historical pictures. What's that?
It's the Lock and Load Tactical Digital soundtrack. Score composed by Dan Pencalder.
I just got the gig today.
Yeah, I know.
So
David
Dan
texted
did the
me
music, and Dan did the music, and then it started, and he's done the music for all my videos.
And the thing is, you know what, Joe? It's easier because you don't have to do copyright this, copyright that. It's like it's just original music. No one can bust your, and that's it. And I remember we were going. My fiance and I, we were going to meet her parents for the first time in Nova Scotia, and all I kept thinking of is the video rendered? I want to see it. It's my first video with Stuka Joe, and when we got to the hotel, we had a bad connection. I think I was trying to get in touch with you, and then the video came up, and I flipped, man. That was great. Great memories.
Dan's on the roof like this, trying to seek a connection. Like, oh my God, download it already. I want to see it.
There's actually something cool about it, though. Because of that, you can kind of use that original work, the original music, to kind of fight back if you fair use anything that someone tries to copyright strike you over, or copyright claim you over, rather. So if you, and I've done this plenty of times where I'll have a small snippet of a movie or a small snippet of a song in, and it's fair use, but they'll try to claim my whole video anyway over it. But if you've got an original work in there, your own original music, you can claim your own video back, and while you won't get everything, you do get half the revenue back. So it's kind of a way to like fight them off. Like, well, you might claim it, but you're only getting half now. D-bag for all the crap that they pull.
Half is better than what I'm getting. Let me tell you.
And with Dan, it's a thing like Dan, for example, the D-Day at Taro. Remember, we're doing this one. Do like a Japanese kind of Oriental theme, and he did a really nice. I don't know what.
Yeah, but hold on, Joe. You're a tough cookie because Joe's a musician too, right? So here's the guy. So anyways, I'll do something. I'll send it to Joe, and Joe's gonna, hey, Ben, give it to something like this, something like that. After I did 5 hours of work. Anyways, I was so like I got no ideas happening, and I banged my head on the keyboard. I promise, I banged my head on the keyboard, and I said, well, that's it. And it went, And it worked.
There's the one for Picket Duty. You remember? You know that game is you control a destroyer, and you're fending off kamikaze attacks. So I told Dan it has to be like at the beginning, calm. The Japanese are preparing, they're drinking their sake, and they're going over the detect and then it's all hell breaks loose, and then and if you look at that's wonderful. That music, it's still like a minute and a half, and that's one of my favorite. I did a special video with my favorite Dan Pancaldi pieces relating to my videos, and I still when I'm bored here, I put it on and I say, man, it's really nice stuff.
Thanks.
Great music, man.
Thanks.
Dan does great work with the music, that's for sure.
He's helped me out a few times myself with it, which I appreciate.
I don't remember, Mo. It's true, Gimpy. It's true. What was that for?
The DVG video I did. Remember they had it was when Corsair Leader came out. And they got a whole bunch of user submitted photos, so I offered to DVG. I was like, look, I've got the whole digital editing, video editing software. If you guys don't have the software or you don't have the time, send me the photos and I'll stitch it together for you. And they're like, oh yeah, that'd be great. And I was like, well, I need something in the background for this. I was like, I know someone who helped me out with that.
I remember. Yeah, that was fun.
And I remember I put it up and I sent you the link or something. You're like, you didn't credit me for it, bro. I'm like, dude, look, you're right there on the front. First thing.
That's all I ask. Is just put my name up.
Music and Dan Pancaldi's forehead.
The only thing I should have had the intro to it, I think, last a little bit, maybe a second or two longer. I always try to air a little shorter when it comes to intros because I know, like me, I skip them too. I get it. I don't want to have it more than a few seconds because anything longer than that, and it'll start to irritate people. Seriously, that was one of the things I learned because when I first got into doing this, I was coming up with these elaborate intros that's like 30 seconds, minute long, and some of the guys I was talking to like, yeah, your intro is horrible, dude. It's just too damn long. Nobody's going to watch that. They're going to be skipping that shit. It might be cool once, just to see it, but after that, you don't want to watch it 100 times. So I try to keep anything now like 7 seconds or under when it comes to a intro segment.
Well, it's kind of like streaming TV shows. You stream on Netflix or whatever. Who watches the end credits? Who watches the beginning? You just hit the next episode, skip intro, get to the show.
And even now they have previously on last week's show, and it's like 2 minutes. It's like, really?
That's the thing. It's like all the people now, they're spoiled. I'm spoiled by it. How fast, how everything's at your fingertips and it's instant. Nobody can be bothered to wait 10 seconds for anything now.
Yeah, I know.
It takes too long.
I mean, Joe and I discuss this all the time, man. Should we put the music here? Should we do it there? Should we take it off?
Well, the thing is that I'm doing now preview videos, so I have a standard intro for preview videos because otherwise, if I do a different introduction for each game, it's like, and I like to do the music thing with the pictures, and because that's the time where I put the game credits, and I like to put the credits of the play testers, everybody, the developers, because these people, they're in the back of the rule book, and nobody, takes a look. And the designer's the only guy who's in the front of the box, So I like to do the intros and put those people there. But then what I'm doing now with the preview videos, I have a standard format. It's 45 seconds long. But then the only thing that's different is it shows the game, the box, at one point the box of the game that is being previewed, and then it has the credits. But then it's the same preview, and then it says Dan Pancaldi music at the end, so because it's always the same song. So.
You should show the box and the lid and say music by Dan Pancaldi. That way everybody would get it.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, Mo. Is it me, or
it's funny.
Or is a box and a lid like a selling point? Like,
no, it's funny. It's funny because you've said it. We've talked about this on a couple of occasions, and you kind of gloss over it when you're reading the contents. You're like, yeah, box and a lid. Okay, that's kind of stupid.
Box and a lid.
But when you started saying it on the show, you started saying a box and a lid. It just became hilarious.
But it blew my mind.
Now I look for it.
Right?
Yeah.
It's only compact.
No, I think another company's starting to get into that, and you get a box and a lid.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like as opposed to what? A Ziploc bag? Okay, maybe there's justification, but yeah.
Well, I mean, if you have like, we're talking about, what is it, Canvas Temple Publishing or whatever that's doing the movie or the game that we were talking about before, Atlantic Wolves. One of their, Kickstarter stretch goals is to have a box and a lid, because otherwise it's going to be the Ziploc. So in that regard, it does have a selling point.
That's right.
But
That's right.
But I would see it more. I mean, it would be more useful if we would say standard box or the thick, the nice
Big
thick
3-inch box
or detergent sized box. Yeah, I can understand, but just a box and a lid, of course.
I don't get it. I wish someone would explain it to me, like marketing wise, like it makes sense. Boo.
Well, it's giving you the full contents of the game.
Yeah, okay,
including
that's cool.
the box and the lid.
Including a box and a lid. Yeah, it's cool. Because
I
and
just
you
think
know
it's
what?
funny.
It's nice looking at the box and the lid, though. Seriously.
Oh yeah.
It's like when there used to be LPs. You used to look at the LP cover. I mean, I do that all the time. I'm always looking at the cover, the back, So yeah, okay, it's justifiable, but I'll never stop saying it.
Then you have like Lock and Load where they put the advertising on the inside of the box. That would be like the liner notes at that point. If you're going to go with the LP stuff, it kind of is cool too. But talking about detergent size box, that thing back there for Storming the App is like a detergent size box.
Seriously, eh?
Yeah, the only boxes bigger are, or the only box bigger I think is Under an Iron Sky. That thing is huge. That box and bigger than that.
That's bigger than 3 inches.
No, I mean it's the same depth. It's 3 inches, but it's actually longer and wider. That other box than
how is that one?
Under an Iron Sky.
Yeah, I've like knocked around the idea of getting it, but that it's expensive enough. It's hard to justify pulling the trigger on it.
It is expensive, and it's one of those. I have a tendency now that with those games, if I have, it's a hypothetical World War III, so I'm like, I'm definitely interested, and it's pretty in depth, and I want to play it. I just haven't sat down because it's going to be a solo game. So I'm like, when am I going to have time to sit down and play this? Read through the rulebook. It's like 70, 80 page rulebook, and it's pretty detailed. It kind of borders more on simulation than it does on, game. I'm not saying it's not a game. It is, but it kind of leans more that direction. So that's going to be something that you have to kind of just push everything aside and say, you know what, I'm going to work on this game for like the next month, just kind of sit down with it and learn it and play through it. And it's pretty neat, but again, solo it's tougher. If you have an opponent, then it makes it easier when you have a couple people to learn, with you and another person, and also you kind of share that heavy lifting of learning, and you have somebody to play against, which is added fun rather than having to try to learn the system and play both sides.
It's just if I get something that big, then I've got to anticipate the fact that I'm going to have to set up the table space for it, and I've got generally 2 or 3 sections, 2 or 3 tables that I keep running constantly, and I'll rotate from one game to one game to one game and do the videos on them. Or one usually always has like a boot camp series that I'm working on, and then the other 2 or something else. But if I do something that big, that takes up basically 2 spots.
Yeah.
So that pretty much shuts me down for anything else. So I have to, like you say, kind of laser focus in on that. Kind of like when I did Thunder in the East, when I pulled the camera back in the first video showing it off, the game was so big that when you accounted for the player aids and all the other cards and everything else with the game, it was taking up a 4 foot by 6 foot table, completely. So I don't know. I might see if I can find that one on sale at some point and pull the trigger on it.
You're going to have to get it secondary because they think they did 2 print runs on it. I think each print run was limited to 400 copies. So it's going to be kind of one of those, you're going to have to get it secondary market. Oh my God. What do we got? Joey Ramone here.
I was wondering earlier when he kept talking about his girlfriend, if it was like he put on a wig and was like talking to himself in the mirror. This confirms it. Is this,
let's cut it to 11.
This is Danielle. Danielle Pancaldi is joining us. Oh, that's horrible, dude.
There are some things you cannot unsee, and that's one of them.
That's gonna stick. That's gonna stick.
We gotta get that little snippet, and we gotta add it onto the show for you.
No, please.
-10 weather will do to you.
I had a nightmare last night that my beard got shaved off, and now this is going to replace it this evening.
And then the constant pulling the hair to the side. Now you got to talk with like an English accent while you're doing it.
Oh man, and seriously, this is a Ramon wig. This is awesome.
I know it is. It's great.
I know.
Why do you even have that?
You know what? I got this at work somehow. I must have ripped it off or something. And I don't know. I've had it ever since.
What the hell do you do for work?
I work in a psychiatric center.
That kind of explains it.
He's actually in the psychiatric center.
And I met my fiance at the psychiatric center too. So what can I tell you, man?
I could see it like the doctors are talking to each other. This guy believes he makes music, and then he talks to people on the computer.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Dude, you have to do the show with that wig on. You got to do at least a segment. You have to do it.
Can you come back and get her in a sec?
You have to definitely do that. You got to do a segment with that wig on and your dance. But but this is what's so great about joining in Whiskey Charlie. You get to see the Joey Ramone wigs, and then you get to see beautiful little babies.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the baby looks like Elise, man, 100%.
She need me to hold the baby for a second, so I'm gonna hold the baby. Can you say hello? Say hello to everyone. Hi. She usually smiles.
So big.
You smile. Say, yay! I love my daddy.
Yeah, wait till Daddy shaves that beard. She's gonna freak.
No, she's not gonna freak. She's a good one. She's quiet. She's easygoing. As long as you keep her fed and dry, she's not a problem.
That sounds like
why are you? You're staring at me. Why are you staring at me? You're making me feel
she
weird down
loves
here.
her daddy.
She's like a Marine. Keep him fed and dry. We're happy.
Gentlemen, I have to leave.
Oh, we have to get another camera and get Elise in on the other spot.
You know what? We should have had Elise before, man.
No, we'll get her on the show.
Yeah, but I'm leaving now.
Oh, okay. Well, you're gonna miss it.
Well, I will tell you that she likes you, Dan, and she likes you too, Stu. It's kind of funny. Like back when I was watching a lot of the wargaming videos when I first got started, she would sit out and she would listen to some of them. And I'm not going to say who she didn't like, but there are some accents. She's like, I don't want you listening to those people anymore. I don't like the way they talk. She's like, you listen to someone else, and I would listen to Stuka. She's like, that's fine. You can listen to Stuka. He doesn't bother me. She likes to.
She hates my videos. That's what he's talking about. Don't listen to that jackass.
Oh, no. You sent her the hat. You're good.
Stuka, nice to have you on. Gimpy.
Okay, see you then.
Mo, thanks.
Hey, you're giving Jeff flashbacks of bad Dolly Parton lookalike contest.
I like Dolly. Have a good night, guys.
All right, take care, Dan. We'll see you next time.
Bedtime in Canada.
It is.
What time is it for him there?
Is
he on my time?
It's
He's on your time.
10:08 over there in Canada and here in Puerto Rico too.
Okay. So you guys don't do the daylight savings BS crap, huh?
No, we're in Atlantic Standard Time all the time.
Nice.
So how far, I gotta think, east do you have to go to get? Well, you're not really past me because once like the daylight saving times thing like rolls back or does whatever, we'd be lined up again, right?
Where are you?
I'm on the East Coast.
On the East Coast?
Yeah, North Carolina.
North Carolina? Yeah, because you're in daylight saving time now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, we're at 1 hour.
That's right. We're
guys?
coming up on spring forward.
Yeah, forward.
I had to think about it. Yeah, fall back, spring forward. So we would be catching up with you. I was like, we're either going to be 2 ahead or whatever. So yeah, I'll match you here in a month or so whenever we switch back over.
Yeah. I hate that daylight savings time. It's like it screws you up so bad because like the first couple weeks or so, you're just like, oh wow, it was. I know it doesn't feel like it's the time it was because your body gets adjusted to the current time, and then you're either going forward or back, and it's like going forward is kind of cool because you're like, wow, that day went by fast at work, But then again, at night you're like, wow, the night went by fast too, and so did the weekend. Oh, this isn't as good as I thought it was. But the fall back is the one where it's like, wow, it just takes forever to get through the day.
Oh, I used to hate it when I have to get up early from work and I'd lose an hour of sleep and it just make me groggy and pissy the next day. But then you have that one day where you're getting an extra hour, and I'm like, yeah, I can stay up a little late tonight. I could play a little bit, and I can get away with it. So, yay, we could go play.
Well, we got a question from Michael. Says, any games you guys looking forward to getting to the table and waiting to be released?
Waiting to be released.
Looking forward to getting to the table. I'll go with Agents of Mayhem because I've got it painted, but I haven't got it to the table yet. And there's another one, Tainted Grail. That one, I'm still pissed that I didn't get the first shipment. And I'm going to get the game sometime in the summer when they release the whole thing. I understand, not Wargames, but Agents of Mayhem's released by Academy Games, so I think it's good enough to count. And I think I know that's what I got on the docket. I got so many, but I'm having a brain fart right now. You guys talk. I'll catch it in a sec when I remember what I got coming up next.
I got Congress of Vienna is a Spanish designer, Quique Espárrago. I met at the Bellota-Con. It's a game based on the mechanics for Churchill, but it starts in 1813 when Napoleon is starting. Things are going bad for Napoleon, and it's really it goes up until France surrenders and how they're going to divide Europe. So it looks really interesting. It's a topic that's not gained too much, and I really enjoy the Churchill mechanics. It's another form of card-driven game, I suppose, and it's multiplayer at the same time. And that one's not 3 players. That one is, I think you got like 5 or 6, up to 5 or 6. So it looks the one I'm looking forward to. I think it's in the P500 now. Yeah. And hopefully it'll make the 500 pretty soon. I think it was at 400 something last time I checked.
Well, one of the ones I'm looking forward to from GMT on the P500 is Mr. President.
I saw a demo of that in Consum World last year. I saw a demo of that you can, after watching that, you can understand why these guys get so old and so few years. You got your foreign affairs, and then you got there's so much terrorism around the world that we're not really aware of, but there's terrorism in like everywhere.
And that's just, kind of a small fraction of the job when you think about all the plates you got to be spinning when you're the president. Just the office itself, your day is really, really, scheduled out. It's like, okay, you have 5 minutes to meet with these people and say how great they are. And then you got 10 minutes to meet with these people and take photos and shake hands and present an award. And then you got, 20 minutes for this, and you have all these briefs before you do all that stuff, and you got to make these decisions. So, I'm not talking about any president, current or past, individually. I'm talking about the office itself and the responsibilities on it. And like you said, Joe, you can see when they get in, how they look. And then 4 years later or 8 years later, wow, the job does age you.
Yeah, it does.
So the game's about being just the president?
It's a solitaire game by Gene Billingsley, president of GMT, who's also a designer. And you are the president, and you're handling the office of the president and doing all the jobs. And it's a solo game, so it's going to be a lot of fun, I think.
And just if I leave, it's because the power is going out, because we just had
storm.
It went out for like a second. So
okay.
If I leave, it's not because I wanted to. That game you have your foreign affairs, you have your domestic affairs, then you have. I can imagine the Trump scenario being hard, because they're going after your throat since inauguration,
Yeah.
So it's really, really it's a different kind of beast. It has a lot of tables, but it's really engaging, and it's like.
So is it kind of like the Hunters and Silent Victory and those type games where it's just a lot of graphs and you're rolling on the tables?
A lot of cards.
There's a lot of tables, but there's a lot of decisions.
Yeah.
It's not you're in there for the ride. There's a lot of decisions, and then you have to focus on certain areas, and I think you have to let your subordinates run others, and so you can't be on top of everything, but you have the whole world, going and you have economic relations going sour. Then the terrorism in Indonesia starts creeping up, and then you got your usual terrorism going up. But it's fascinating. I signed up for the P500, and that one is just, it's very involved. There's a lot of die rolling, but every die rolling is actually fun because it has consequences, and
Sure.
they're tracking your acceptance rating, and I think you go up for re-election too. So no, it's really interesting. I think that and other games are proof that war gamers we have been the name that we call ourselves is not really correct, because even though we play games of war, it's really games about history and
Sure.
games of I mean, a lot of them have wars, but I think we like games that are true to history and simulations of history, and that one is just a simulation of being a president. And I can see that they could do that, go back and have a 1800 version with Grant and all those guys facing what they face. I could see that in the future, because now you have the present kind of president, but then you could have the problems the president had 50, 60, 100 years ago.
So this is just basically set in the modern time frame. It's not like throughout
it's like
throughout history.
Right now. Yeah, and I think they have scenarios like for the current president and the president before that. So
Gene should rename it then. He should call it like Trump 2020, the board game. I'm sure it'll sell like hotcakes.
In an orange box.
Oh, that would be great. Oh, I would pay money to see him try to publish that.
I did ask him about that, Mr. President, about potentially continuing on, because it's the type of game, like Joe was saying, it's about modern presidency, and it doesn't matter who's in the office, or anything like that, because it's modeling based on the real world. So this is something that you can continually come out with expansions. Have extra deck or two that it models current situation, the relationship with China, the coronavirus that's going on right now, and world epidemics, and on top of the constant wars and the terrorism and the economic growth in the United States and in other countries, the economic instability or whatever, Brexit, things like that. They can all be modeled into a game, which poses a lot of different challenges.
And I can see wargaming going into that direction. For example, in that game, you are the president. So you in the Mark Herman Civil War game, what's the name of it? For the People. One guy is Jefferson Davis, the other guy is Lincoln. But this is now solitaire. So imagine a game that you are going to be Robert E. Lee for the whole. I know it brings a Confederate thing, but it's fascinating.
Yeah. Put yourself in that position.
You have these military challenges, which are immense. Would make for a great game.
Sure.
You're running, but you are in the position of Robert Lee, so you make decisions that impact your corps commanders and division commanders, but you are in his position. Then you suddenly go for a battle, and then you resolve the battle. And I can see that kind of wargaming being interesting to people, where you put yourself in the position of a person, and you're watching the conflict from that position. You have the president here, can be Lee, can be you can have Eisenhower, can be another game.
Sure.
Dealing with the Brits, with Monty and all that, and at the same time trying to win World War II. So that could be something that I could immerse myself in that, because it's a unique position in history that one individual is in. So why wouldn't that not make an interesting game situation, no matter who the individual is? I mean,
you're facing the challenges they faced.
What if instead, though, he had like an app version of it, to where like up to the minute modern day happenings could be incorporated into the game? Imagine how cool that would be if something big happened, trade deals or whatever, for a modern version. But so many board games have app based functionality nowadays, so if they had something like that was incorporated with it, it could be in the news one night and then in your game the next day. Some people might think that's kind of cold, just depending on what happens, but you get the premise of what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
it's like that U-boat game, that has the app. Yeah, I guess if you keep a nice balance, and it still feels like a board game, and it doesn't feel like it's playing itself.
Yeah.
Did you try U-boot?
I have it now, but I haven't ripped the shrink wrap yet. I have it, but
you should.
Yeah, I know. People talk favorably about it. It's the beef I have with computer games. I know they're wonderful, but sometimes it feels like they're playing me, and I'm not playing the computer game. I'm just there. Oh, look at that! Wow, nice graphics. Oh, we're getting slaughtered there. Let me run there, and it's like it's playing itself. That's why I prefer board games, because
Sure.
The mechanics is I put in motion whatever's happening, and I go at my pace. So
when you try that one, don't be afraid to slow it down. 'Cause if you play it by yourself, if you play it with others, then part of the gameplay is the rush between each person playing a role, captain, engineer, whatever. But if you are playing it solitaire like I played it, don't be afraid to slow it down. Hit that pause button religiously, because there's no way. Not when you're playing it by yourself. You're covering so many sections.
Yeah.
So take your time with it. But it is a lot of fun. Like the exciting moment for me really was when I got in there, I got near ship, and then I was having to plot for my torpedo, figure out what direction I was facing, what direction the enemy ship was facing, get all of that lined up, make sure I had the right orders, and then hit the button and watch the ship get blown up. That was awesome. That was a neat experience. It was like playing what was the old Silent Hunter game.
Silent Hunter game, yeah. That's what it looked like. It looked like Silent Hunter board game, and that's why when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, I'm getting that." And of course, I got it, and of course, it's just sitting on the shelf. I haven't had time to get to it yet.
That's one series I want to get into, because I read Clay Blair's both books, The Hunters and The Hunted. It's the longest book I've ever. When you put them together, it's like 1,400 pages. I never read anything longer than that, and that caught my attention because the Germans document everything, even when they go to the bathroom, I think. And the thing is, they would, Gunther Prien, he sunk I think he went into Scapa Flow and sunk, I think, a aircraft carrier then. So you read about this, and it's amazing how that guy went in there, and you're reading about Gunther Prien, and he gets decorated, and then Gunther Prien left for the next mission, and that was all that was heard about U-47.
Yeah.
Gone, because in those days, it was all or nothing,
Yeah.
All hands lost, because if the submarine went down, everybody died. So it's and when you read, and I think 90% of submarine servicemen in World War II in Germany, they were lost. The guys who survived were the guys who did well, and then they got desk jobs.
Yeah.
Leading formations, and of course because they never sailed again because the conditions were so adverse, and it is really fascinating.
Well, it's kind of like the end of Das Boot. Das Boot. You watch that, and it's like, oh yeah, you're pulling for these guys, and then you're like, really? They get home, and really? Come on, it's like one of those come on, man moments, But
it's been a while. Wait, I can't remember if I saw that one or if I'm thinking another one. What happens in the end of that one? Spoilers.
They get sunk by an airplane.
Yeah, they get back and then they get killed. Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yes.
The thing is,
all the stuff they went through.
Coming out now, the Greg Smith game, The Hunt. So I figure that I'll try The Hunted, because most probably I'm going to get sunk in the third or fourth mission, because things are so bad for the Germans anyways.
Look, I'm not trying to hate on those series of games. I really do like them. But when it comes to like The Hunted, right? There's The Hunted, The Hunters, Silent Victory, the multiple in that line of games, right? And me personally, I don't see much of a reason to have more than one submarine one. Like I can see why you would want one bomber one submarine one I forget the other one, that the picket duty that you were talking about earlier, ship one. I like that series of game, but do you see a reason to have more besides you just playing a different faction?
There are some things. The Germans introduced a schnorkel thing, and they had this huge model that I think came later in the war. I mean, they like everything, they did a lot of great weapons. Fortunately for us, too late, and I think those models come in there. So if you get one of those submarines, I guess the game's going to play differently. That's what I know from the book, and then the way the Allies attack the submarines is different too. So it must have some differences. At least it's a shorter game, because you're gonna be sunk in 2 or 3 missions. I mean, there were not very many aces in 1943 for Germany. They all went down the bottom of the sea. So
I couldn't imagine doing that job.
There's an Italian version also, right?
Isn't that the World War I version? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
Oh, you're talking about
the P500, the Italians. That's interesting because
the med one.
The med one, that's interesting too. So I'm a sucker for all these things. It's anything that's different, that's not a Bulge or D-Day or Barbarossa game. Write me in.
Kind of like Tank Duel.
I got it there. Yeah, I got to play it. Yeah, I like it. It has a lot. a lot of elements like that I recognize from Upfront, which I like. Which is Upfront is like my favorite card game. I've been reading the rules. I like what I've read, but I haven't played it so far. I got it there.
I compared it to. Am I getting an echo again?
No, you're good.
I compared it with Fields of Fire. It was kind of like for me, a tank version of Fields of Fire, because Fields of Fire is an abstraction of company level combat, and this is similar to like a tank version of that.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing though is I do think it's a little more complex than they allocate it for on the scale on the back of the rule book. I put it more at least like a 6 than I think it was rated at like a 4. And especially that comes into play if you're using the Robota, because the Robota adds a very detailed extra layer to the game. If you're playing just the heads-up version of it, it's not too bad, especially after you've played a few rounds of it. Don't get me wrong, I like the game, but I think it's one of those games that you're either really going to like it or you're really not going to like it. So if you like games like The Hunters and The Hunted, Picket Duty, you like those games, you'll probably like Tank Duty or Tank Duel.
Tank Duty. No,
I'm blending together.
Well, the thing with Tank Duel compared to like the Hunters and all is, I think there's more decision space in Tank Duel than there is in the Hunters, because that, I had the Hunters, I had Silent Victory, and I ended up selling both because I kind of played enough of Silent Hunter, it's the first one, the Hunters, that I was like, okay, I've had enough. I think it really was not to hate on the game or anything. It's just for me, it was like, all right, I'm rolling on a table. My decisions are minimal, and they don't have that great of an impact. Okay, there's a convoy. What am I going to do? I'm going to go after it. Of course, I'm going to shoot it. Am I going to go submerged, or am I going to shoot with deck guns based on if they have an escort or not? Just like in Silent Hunter. But at least in Silent Hunter, when you're playing the computer game, you're actually actively doing something. Whereas with the board game, you're rolling. Oh, I hit. Oh, there's sunk. Okay. And it kind of felt a little samey to me after a while. Kind of like another game that I was just playing Dog Sector. I don't know if you're familiar with that, White Dog Games.
Mm-hmm.
It's a D-Day.
D-Day Invasion. White Dog. Yeah.
White Dog game.
It says it's a beer and pretzels game, and it really is, and it's which is fine. Those are great, but too much dice rolling for me, and that says a lot because I love dice rolling, but like everything depends on dice rolls, and after a while I was just like, this is kind of getting a little monotonous, and it took me out of the enjoyment of the game. Now, if you go into it understanding that, appreciating that, you just want something that's fairly light, okay, you'll probably like it, but it just seemed a little bit too much of a dice fest for me. Just kind of like with the Hunters, that series, it just felt like, okay, I'm rolling dice just to drive the narrative. And, for me, it just didn't work as well.
There's something that helps when it comes to, I know they have it for Silent Victory. There's a little app you can get, Flash-based, I think it's on web, that will handle like the generation of the enemy convoys and escorts and all that type stuff. So how there's a lot of charts you got to roll on to generate those ships. That automates all of that. So you can pretty much just focus on the dice rolls when it comes to making your attacks or being attacked that level of the game. So that automation takes out, I think, half the dice rolls that you have to make.
Okay.
Really, really streamlines it. I wouldn't be surprised if they had it for the other games as well. And it doesn't really take out the samey nature of it, but it does streamline it and speed the game up enough that it doesn't impact you as hard, because it's like, oh, I got to roll for the convoy again. Okay, what, fleet number, what size, what blah, blah, blah. Just hit the button, bam, there they are.
That's a computer version. It's out already?
No, it's not a computer version. It's an online app you can use with the board game.
Oh, okay, I see.
So you're not like playing it like Vassal or something like that. You're still playing the actual board game itself. You just have a app that will automate half the dice rolls for you, or just the generation of the enemy ships, so you don't have to do that dice rolling, and it's randomized the way it's supposed to be. I didn't create the app. I did make a short video on it on the Silent Victory series, showing the app and how it worked.
Yeah. But as far as games I've got coming up that I'm going to play, finally going to get to play Front Toward Enemy, which I've been really wanting to play that for a while, but going to get to play it at the con, CSW Con next month, and then Angola, get to play that again. Stalingrad 42 will play that again. Tank Duel, I'm finally going to get a chance to play. And the one I'm really excited about is Next War Poland. Going to finally get a chance to play the advanced game with another guy that wants to play the advanced game. So it's going to be our first time, our first time playing the advanced game, the advanced rules. And that's going to really ramp that up quite a bit because the standard game is a really good game on its own. But then once you start adding in the advanced rules, that's where it adds some extra layers of complexity. But it gives you a bigger, wider scope, bigger picture, and I'm really excited about that.
Right.
Yay, Mo!
Yay! We got a comment from Michael saying, "Appreciate you guys and your work. Keep it up. I gotta go." So, hey, thanks, Michael, for stopping by. Definitely appreciate it. But I think that we're going to let everybody go because Stuka's a little further ahead of me than even Nate. It's 10:30, almost 11 o'clock there your time.
Yeah, it's 10:30.
Yeah, 10:30. So we're going to call it a show here, but we will be back on the 25th with David Thompson because we're going to be talking about his game that Gimpy is actually taking a look at called By Stealth and Sea, about the Italian, I don't want to say torpedoes. They were really mini subs, were they not?
Yeah, they're pretty much like mini subs.
Yeah. So I think it'll be pretty interesting, and that's a solo game too. So that one looks really fun, and he's got some really great solo designs. So I just got a copy of Castle Litter in from him and Dan Verson yesterday, and I'm really looking forward to getting that.
I got Castle Litter too, and I read the rule book, and I'm really, it's I like the way he divides the line of sight. He gets the line of sight rules very simplified with the color coding.
Yeah.
It looks like a very interesting design, yes.
Did you ever play Pavlov's House, Stuka?
No, I haven't played it. I have it, but I haven't played it yet.
For me, I liked Pavlov's House, but I think Castle Iter, however you say it, took my favorite part of Pavlov's House and expanded it. I liked the house section because with Pavlov's House, it had multiple levels.
It had the
strategic, tactical,
and tactical. Yeah.
You know what I mean. But for me, my favorite part was like the tactical, really down in the nitty gritty. Castle Iter is all of that. That's the focus of the game, and it really, really does well. I got to give it to David.
It's a great looking game. It's a great looking game too. When you look at it, you go, man, it looks really nice.
And the story too. Aren't they making a movie about that?
Incredible. You know that Gamelan general that was there. That's one of the army group generals the French had in 1940. He was a prisoner there. So some of those guys there are, and Pierre Renaud, I think, was a prime minister. So they had some pretty impressive French guests there from 1940 in that castle. So
thanks, Michael, by the way. So wait, he was in prison for like all 5 years of the war?
Yeah, man, I guess if he was there, he was in prison. I mean, it's a nice prison, but still prison.
Yeah. Being stuck in prison is prison. Before we do sign off, I did want to say one thing because Mo pointed this out to me the other day about Rob Oren giving us the shout out. Yeah. So just on the off chance that he sees this and he watches it because he was talking about some of these chats that we do, appreciate that. He had a lot of good things to say about us and the work that we do. So it was nice to be noticed and appreciated. Yeah, and all the kind comments in the comment section as well. Thank you guys. I appreciate that.
Yeah, he definitely did a really great job at talking us up and recommending our channels to his viewers. And he's got a really great YouTube channel, got a lot of subscribers, and got a pretty varied audience because he does a lot of not just war games, but he does a lot of covers on a lot of games. And hopefully in the next few weeks, maybe we can get him to join us on an episode of Whiskey Charlie and have a little chat about war games. And speaking of war games, another one that I almost forgot to say is Storming the Gap. I want to try to get that on the table very soon as well.
I had a brain for it. Storming the Gap.
Storming the Gap, Lock and Load Publishing.
No kidding. The game that I've spent hours with.
There's some sort of boot camp series, I think, involved with that game.
I've had some brain farts here recently, man. My memory's been hit and miss. Seriously, it's that landmine thing, dude. Like, my short-term memory's like a goldfish. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's just not. It's real bad because I can pick up on it when I'm recording my videos. That's why so many of them, if you actually look at the digital file, there's so many little chops in there because there'll be these 20-second pauses when I'm watching. I'm like, I don't remember not saying anything. Like, I guess I spaced out for a little bit. We'll just chop that out. I just don't want anyone to think I'm like messing with it, because there's one, I can't remember what game it was, but like I paused like mid-level and I'm just standing there with like the dice in my hand right as I'm getting ready to roll them. I'm like, someone's going to think that I'm fudging with a game and I'm not actually playing it, that I'm like cutting it right when I'm getting ready to roll the dice. And I thought about typing it in there. I'm like, yeah, it'd be too much to explain. I just won't worry about it. Put it on there and see if anybody says it. Have to thank the Iraqis for blowing my ass up.
Well, but the thing is, you're upright and breathing. That's all that matters.
That was the first thing I checked. Like when I came to, I reached downstairs. I was like, okay, still there. I'm good.
Twigging berries. I'm good.
Well, they make fake legs. You know what I mean? I was like, I can get another one of those. I can't get another one of my Mr. Happies. As long as he's still there, I'm good. My brother knows what it was like. My brother, Stuka, you don't know this, but when I deployed, my twin brother was actually there with me. So we were actually running missions at the same time. And there was a couple missions where we actually got to be in the same Humvee. I was driving down the streets of Fallujah. He's up in the gun turret doing that whole thing. We were joking with each other. It's kind of like playing Halo like we did as kids, but there's no reset button if we make a mistake on this one.
No respawn, no.
Yeah, there's no respawn, so we had to do it.
You were in the same unit?
Yep.
Wow, but I thought after the Sullivan brothers, they wouldn't put anybody in the same unit. Isn't that what they said in Saving Private Ryan? That
they did that for a while, but they changed it up, especially in modern day. Back in older days, most people did have more than one child, but a lot of families now are one-child homes. So you can't really be worried about killing off the family line. Now, had one of us been killed, more than likely the other one would have been pulled out of action at that point. But they don't tend to make the decisions based on preserving the family line as much as they used to back in the day. You get what I'm saying? I mean, how many families out there only have one child? And if they die, it does kill off the family. So they can't judge their mission basis priorities based on that. But they...
Yeah, and I heard you were in Fallujah, and I saw a video that you made on a Fallujah game, right? It was by this is a game I've been trying to get by a French company, but it's out of print.
Nuts Publishing, Phantom Fury.
What's the name?
Phantom Fury.
Phantom Fury.
Yeah, let me know if you can't find it. I can send you my copy so you can get some hands-on time with it. I started the series. I still haven't finished it yet due to 101 things. You know how it is, like the games that you want to play versus the games that you have to play because they've been sent to you. Or
exactly, you said it better than I did.
Yeah, you don't get to choose for yourself anymore. Everyone else chooses. And I started that series and I couldn't finish it between the boot camp series and everything else, that I kept getting one project after another.
Yeah, it happens to me the same with us. Games that I've been sent. Oh God.
Let me know if you can't get a hold of it, and I'll send it to you. All right,
I'm back here. The light went out again. It happens to me all the time. I got those games in line. I want to do like with the CDG solo method. I did a new version of the method in 2017, which is actually the current version, which it's even better than the one I have on video. And I want to do like a 1 or 2 turn playthrough about that, and because has stood the test of time for the last 3 years. Nobody has said, hey, you have to change this. But that's waiting for me after I do all these games. So I know what you mean.
You'll never catch up. I know I'll never catch up. It's all about trying to squeeze in a moment for yourself whenever you can.
Yeah.
I know.
It definitely is.
Well, Mo and Gimpy, it was great to be with you guys and then talk to you guys.
Yeah, no, appreciate it, Joe, and appreciate everything you do for the Wargame community. We really do appreciate all your videos, and like Nate was telling you, everybody I think here in this channel has watched your videos and has either gotten into wargaming because of them or broadened their horizons into wargaming because of them. So thank you for everything you do for the community.
Okay, thank you, Mo. Thank you, Gimpy.
Hey, I appreciate you joining us, Stuka, the legend.
All right, guys, we'll be back on February 25th with David Thompson. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time.
Y'all take care.
Bye.